The bright screen lit up Dr. Tom Reed's tired face as he stared at the readings for the 100th time. Something wasn't right, or perhaps it was too right. The quantum physics lab, buried deep in the Rocky Mountains, had been his home for the past 3 years. But tonight felt different. "Sir, you need to see this." Mark, his young assistant, burst through the door. His usual calm replaced by barely contained excitement. "The energy readings from Chamber 3. They're off the charts." Tom rushed to the testing chamber, his white lab coat flying behind him. The massive room housed their latest experiment, an attempt to detect dark energy waves. But the machine wasn't just detecting them anymore. It was doing something else entirely. Inside the chamber, a sphere of pure darkness floated in the containment field. It wasn't black. It was the absence of anything, a hole in reality itself. Around it, streams of purple energy danced like northern lights. "This is impossible," Tom whispered, but the readings didn't lie. Their machine wasn't just measuring dark energy, it was controlling it, manipulating the very force that made up 70% of the universe. He pressed the intercom button. "Everyone to the main lab. Now." Within minutes, the core team assembled. Jane from quantum mathematics, Robert from engineering, and Lisa from theoretical physics. They all stared at the floating sphere through the reinforced windows. "The containment field is stable," Robert reported, checking his tablet. "Whatever this is, we've got it under control." "But what exactly is it?" Lisa asked, scribbling equations on her notepad. "We were supposed to be making a detection system, not this." Tom pointed to the main screen. "Look at these patterns. The dark energy isn't just present, it's responding to the field harmonics. We're not just detecting it anymore. We're directing it." "That's not possible," Jane said, but her voice trembled with excitement. "The math says." "Forget what we thought we knew," Tom cut in. "This changes everything." Above them, hidden cameras recorded every moment. In orbit, sophisticated satellites detected the unusual energy signature, sending automatic alerts to systems that hadn't been accessed in centuries. The team worked through the night, running test after test. They discovered they could shape the dark energy, concentrate it, even use it to affect normal matter. It was like discovering electricity all over again, but on a cosmic scale. None of them noticed the black cars arriving outside until the facility's director rushed in, his face pale. "Dr. Reed," he said, "there are some government officials here to see you. They say it's urgent." Tom looked at his team. They had planned to inform the proper authorities, of course, but not this soon. How had anyone found out? "Tell them we'll be right up," he said. "Save all the data. Multiple copies." The visitors waited in the main conference room. 3 men and 2 women in perfect black suits, too perfect. Their posture was odd, too straight, too still. Something about them made the hair on Tom's neck stand up. "Dr. Reed," the tallest man said, standing. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "We need to discuss your recent breakthrough." "How do you know about that?" Tom asked. "We haven't reported it yet." "We know many things, Dr. Reed." The man's voice was smooth, almost artificial. "For instance, we know that what you've discovered was meant to stay hidden. Some knowledge is forbidden for a reason." The woman next to him placed a strange device on the table. It hummed to life, projecting a hologram of Earth, surrounded by countless symbols Tom had never seen before. "We represent interests beyond your current understanding," she said. Her accent was impossible to place. "And you've just attracted the attention of the entire galaxy." Tom's mind raced. The perfect suits, the strange accents, the advanced technology. These weren't government officials. This was first contact. And humanity had just broken some universal law they never knew existed. The conference room fell silent. Tom looked at the hologram floating above the table, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. The Earth rotated slowly, covered in strange symbols he'd never seen before. Some were pulsing red. "You're not from our government," he said finally. It wasn't a question. The tall man, or whatever he was, nodded. I am Representative Smith, though that's not my real name. We are from the Galactic Council, the governing body of civilized space, and we've been watching Earth for a very long time. The woman added, her name-tag read Ms. White. Until now, your species showed appropriate development patterns. But this? She gestured to the hologram, where one of the red symbols was blinking faster. This is unacceptable. Tom felt anger rising in his chest. Unacceptable. We've made a breakthrough in fundamental physics. How is scientific progress unacceptable? Because, Smith said, dark energy manipulation is forbidden. All races, once they join the galactic community, must agree to never pursue this technology. It is our highest law. The facility director, who had been silent until now, spoke up. You can't just come here and demand we stop our research. We have rights. We have sovereignty. White's laugh was cold. Sovereignty. Your species still fights over lines drawn on your own planet. You are children playing with forces you don't understand. Tom's team had gathered behind him. He could feel their mix of fear and defiance. Why? He asked. Why is this particular field of study forbidden? The third alien, who hadn't spoken yet, stepped forward. Unlike the others, he looked almost apologetic. For stability, he said. For order. Some powers are too dangerous to be wielded by younger races. Younger races? Jane burst out. So this is about keeping us in our place. This is about protection, Smith said firmly. The Council's decisions are final. You will cease all research immediately. Your data will be destroyed. Your facility will be repurposed. Tom felt his hand shake, not with fear, but with rage. And if we refuse? The hologram changed, showing images of other worlds. Some were beautiful, filled with strange cities and incredible technologies. Others were barren wastelands. These, White said, pointing to the dead worlds, were races that refused Council guidance. Do not follow their path. You're threatening us, Tom said quietly, threatening our entire species. We are warning you, Smith corrected. The Council's authority is absolute. We have maintained peace among the stars for 50,000 years. We will not let one primitive species disturb that peace. The facility director stepped forward. We'll need to consult with our governments. This isn't a decision we can make alone. You have 1 Earth week, White said. We will return for your answer. The aliens turned to leave, moving with that strange, too perfect grace. At the door, Smith paused. Dr. Reed, he said, you are brilliant for a human. Don't let that brilliance destroy your world. After they left, the room exploded with voices. Fear, anger, excitement, everyone talking at once. But Tom stayed quiet, thinking. What are we going to do? Mark asked him. Tom looked at his team, then at the facility director. First, we contact every major government. Then, he took a deep breath. Then we make them understand something important. What's that? Lisa asked. Humanity doesn't respond well to threats. Tom's voice was steady now. And we've never been good at following rules we didn't help make. The director nodded slowly. I'll make the calls. But they'll be back. Yes, Tom agreed, looking out the window at the mountains. They'll be back. And we'll be ready. In orbit, the alien ship hung invisible against the stars. And on Earth, humanity faced its biggest choice yet. Submit to the Council's demands, or reach for power that could either lift them to the stars or reduce their world to ashes. 3 days after the aliens' visit, Tom found himself in a secret underground facility beneath the Nevada desert. The room was filled with military officers, scientists, and government officials from 12 different countries. The world's response to the Council's threat had been surprisingly unified. Keep working, but do it hidden. What have we learned? General Miller asked, his voice echoing in the large chamber. Tom stood up, pointing to the large screen behind him. We've decoded some of the data we captured from their hologram device. It's interesting. Interesting how? Asked a Russian scientist. The Council isn't telling us everything. Tom clicked through several images. Their ban on dark energy research isn't about safety. It's about control. The screen showed ancient records, stolen from the Council's own databases by Earth's best hackers. The symbols were alien, but their meaning was clear enough. Tom continued, every species that has mastered dark energy has eventually surpassed the Council races in technology. Every single one. Murmurs filled the room. An official from India leaned forward. And what happened to these species? That's the thing, Tom said, showing more images. The Council eliminated them, not because they were dangerous, but because they were becoming too powerful. Professor Anna Miller, their best code breaker, took over. We found references to something called the Great Purge. 3,000 years ago, a young race developed dark energy technology. They shared it with other emerging civilizations. Within a century, they had better ships, better weapons, better everything. And the Council couldn't allow that, Tom added. They invented this story about dark energy being dangerous, made it a law. But it was never about danger. It was about keeping their power. The room erupted in angry discussions. General Miller raised his hand for silence. How close are we to mastering this technology? Tom looked at his team. They nodded. Very close. The Council's visit actually helped us. Their device gave us new data about how dark energy works. We've made more progress in 3 days than we did in 3 years. Show them, Anna said. Tom pressed a button. In the center of the room, a small sphere of dark energy appeared, floating perfectly controlled. Unlike the first experiment, this one was stable, purposeful. This, Tom said, is just the beginning. We can already power small devices. Soon, we'll be able to build shields, weapons, even new types of spacecraft. Everything they feared we'd create. A Chinese general spoke up. They'll know we're still working on it. They're watching us. Not anymore, Anna smiled. We found their surveillance satellites. Disabled most of them yesterday. The ones we left active are feeding them fake data. But we don't have much time, Tom warned. They'll figure it out eventually. We need to be ready before they come back. General Miller stood up. How long do you need? 2 weeks, Tom said. Maybe 3. With everyone working together, we can crack this. Build defenses. The general looked around the room. Then that's what we'll do. Every nation here commits their full resources. We work together, or we fall together. As the meeting ended, Tom stayed behind, staring at the dark energy sphere. Anna joined him. Scared? She asked. Terrified, he admitted, but also excited. Do you know what this means? Humanity isn't just fighting for independence. We're fighting to break a system of control that's lasted for 50,000 years. Anna nodded. And we're going to win. How can you be so sure? She smiled. Because they made a mistake. They tried to bully humanity into submission. And if there's one thing humans hate, it's bullies, Tom finished. Above them, through miles of rock and desert, the stars shone cold and distant, but not for much longer. Humanity was coming, whether the Council liked it or not. The Council ships appeared without warning. One moment, Earth's skies were clear. The next, 50 massive vessels hung in orbit, their hulls gleaming like polished mirrors. In the underground facility, alarms screamed. Tom ran to the control room, where General Miller was already barking orders. They're 2 days early, Tom said, watching the massive ships on the main screen. We're not ready. We'll have to be. The general pressed a button on his command console. All stations, this is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Initiate protocol shield. Around the world, hidden facilities powered up. Dark energy generators, built in secret over the past weeks, hummed to life. Tom held his breath, watching the energy readings climb. The largest council ship opened a communication channel. Representative Smith's face filled the screens, his artificial smile gone. "Your deception ends now," he said. "Our sensors detect continued dark energy manipulation. This is your final warning. Cease all operations, or we will be forced to take action." General Miller stepped forward. "This is Earth's response." "No." Smith's face hardened. "Then you leave us no choice." The council ships fired. Beams of intense light streaked toward major cities across the globe. But they never reached their targets. Sheets of purple-black energy bloomed in the sky, catching the attacks and absorbing them. Earth's dark energy shields, crude but effective, held firm. "Impossible," Smith whispered, his perfect composure cracking. Tom grabbed the microphone. "Not impossible. Inevitable. You tried to keep us down, but you gave us everything we needed to rise. Those fake data streams you were watching. They let us work in peace. Your hologram device. It taught us more about dark energy in days than we'd learned in years." More council ships arrived, hundreds now. They fired again and again, but the shields didn't break. "You don't understand what you're doing," Smith said. "The council's authority must be maintained. Order must be preserved." "Your order," General Miller replied. "Not ours." In the facility's testing chamber, Anna worked frantically at her console. "Tom, the new weapon is ready." Tom nodded to the general, who gave the command. "All stations, initiate Protocol Spear." From hidden silos across Earth, missiles launched. But these weren't ordinary weapons. Each one carried a dark energy core, technology the Council had forbidden for millennia. The Council ships tried to shoot them down, but the missiles phased through their defenses like they weren't there. When they detonated, they didn't explode. They created fields of pure darkness that swallowed sections of the Council fleet. 23 enemy ships disabled, someone reported. No casualties. The dark energy fields are working exactly as planned. They're just shutting down their systems, not destroying them. Smith's face showed real fear now. This is unprecedented. No species has ever. Listen carefully, General Miller cut him off. We could have built weapons that would destroy your ships, kill your crews, but we didn't. We chose to show mercy, something your council never did to others who discovered dark energy. You're making a mistake, Smith said, but his voice wavered. No, Tom stepped forward. Your mistake was thinking you could threaten humanity into submission. We don't work that way. Now take your ships and go. Tell the council that Earth is off limits. More council ships were falling dark, caught in the human weapons fields. Finally, Smith gave the order to retreat. The massive fleet began to disappear, jumping away to whatever distant stars they called home. In the control room, celebrations erupted. But Tom stayed quiet, watching the screens. They'll be back, he said, with more ships, more weapons. Let them come. Anna joined him. We've only begun to understand what dark energy can do. Next time, we'll be even stronger. The general put his hands on their shoulders. And we won't be alone. Other races will hear about this. The council's grip on power just started cracking. Above, the sky cleared of alien ships. Humanity had won its first battle against the stars. But the real war was just beginning. 2 weeks after Earth's victory, Tom sat in a strange room on a stranger world. The blue-skinned alien across from him called herself First Speaker Ray, and she represented something unexpected. Council rebels. You must understand, Ray said, her translator converting her musical language to English. Many of us have questioned the dark energy ban for centuries, but none dared to act. Until you. Tom looked out the window at the alien city, its crystal towers reaching into purple clouds. Why contact us now? Because you did not destroy those ships. Ray's large eyes blinked slowly. You could have killed them all. Instead, you showed restraint. This impressed many of us. More aliens entered the room, representatives from 12 different council worlds. young worlds by Council standards. Each had voted against attacking Earth. "The old powers are afraid," said another alien, his scales shifting colors as he spoke. "3 more worlds have started their own dark energy research. They cannot stop us all." On the room's main screen, images appeared from across the galaxy. Council ships fighting each other, worlds declaring independence, the rigid order of 50,000 years cracking apart. "We've started a revolution," Tom realized. "You gave us courage," Ray nodded. "The Council elite call humans primitive. But you developed in decades what took others centuries. And you did it without destroying yourselves." The door burst open. Anna rushed in, holding her tablet. "Tom, you need to see this. The Council's sending their entire main fleet, not just to Earth, to every world that's working on dark energy." The aliens looked at each other, fear and determination mixed on their strange faces. "How long?" the scaled alien asked. 3 days, Anna replied. "Maybe 4. Ray stood up. "Then we must act now. My world has ships. Not many, but they are fast. Mine has weapons." Another alien joined in. "Old technology, but still strong." Tom looked at the tactical display. "Earth's new defense grid is ready. If we coordinate, create a united front." "They will not expect it," Ray said. "The Council believes younger races cannot work together." Another of their mistakes. Messages flew across space. Secret alliances formed in hours. Ships that had hidden for years emerged from asteroid fields and gas clouds. A new fleet gathered, smaller than the Council's, but driven by something stronger than fear. In the Council's Great Hall, the elite powers rage. Their perfect order was falling apart. Representative Smith addressed them, his artificial calm finally broken. "The humans have infected them with their defiance," he shouted. "We must crush this rebellion now, or everything we built will fall." But even as he spoke, more Council members were leaving their seats, joining the rebels. The younger races had seen Earth stand up to power and win. They had seen humans master forbidden technology without losing their humanity. Back in the alien city, Tom watched ships arrive from across the galaxy. Each one represented a world tired of living under the Council's rules, a world ready to fight for its future. "Will it be enough?" Anna asked quietly. "Look at them." Tom gestured to their alien allies, all working together, sharing knowledge and resources. The Council spent 50,000 years keeping worlds apart, afraid of each other. We just had to show them a better way. Ray joined them. "The Council fleet approaches. All worlds report ready." "Then let's give them a surprise," Tom smiled. "Show them what happens when the younger races work together." Above, ships of 100 different designs formed into battle groups. Dark energy generators powered up across dozens of worlds. The greatest space battle in galactic history was about to begin. And this time, humanity wasn't fighting alone. Space lit up with 1,000 suns as the battle began. The Council's main fleet, 10,000 ships strong, emerged from hyperspace across multiple systems. They expected to find weak, scattered resistance. Instead, they found an alliance ready for war. "All ships, hold formation," General Miller's voice carried across the combined fleet's command channel. Earth ships flew alongside alien vessels of every shape and size, their dark energy shields glowing in harmony. Tom stood on the bridge of humanity's first dark energy battleship, the Defiance. Next to him, Ray watched the tactical display. The Council approaches in standard attack pattern. "They never change. That's their weakness," Tom said. 50,000 years of doing things the same way. Time to show them something new." The Council fleet opened fire, their energy weapons lighting up space. But the Rebel Alliance had learned from Earth's example. Dark energy shields absorbed the attacks, growing stronger with each hit. "Now," General Miller commanded. The Alliance fleet split apart, executing a battle plan that would have been impossible just weeks ago. Ships from 20 different worlds moved in perfect sync, their crews linked by human neural interface technology combined with alien communication systems. They're confused, Anna reported from her station. Their formation is breaking. On the Council's command ship, Representative Smith watched in horror as his perfect fleet fell into chaos. The younger races weren't just fighting. They were innovating, combining technologies in ways the Council had never imagined. Earth ships phased through enemy fire using dark energy fields. Alien vessels teleported across space using principles learned from human quantum physics. Smaller craft darted between capital ships, their weapons powered by a mixture of Council and Earth technology. "Impossible," Smith whispered. "They cannot be working together this well. They're supposed to fight among themselves." But the evidence was right in front of him. The Council fleet, mighty but rigid, couldn't adapt to the constantly changing battle tactics. Ship after ship went dark, caught in the Alliance's non-lethal weapons. All sectors reporting similar results, Ray announced, her translator barely keeping up with her excitement. The Council is losing on every front. Across the galaxy, the news spread. The Council's unbeatable fleet was being defeated by the very races they had suppressed. More worlds rose up, throwing off centuries of control. The revolution wasn't just winning, it was spreading. Tom watched as another group of Council ships surrendered. Their crews, many from younger races themselves, were switching sides. The Council's perfect order was dissolving in real time. "They're retreating," Anna called out. "The main fleet is pulling back." On all channels, a message broadcast from the Council's capital world. The elite powers, seeing their military defeated, were offering terms. Not surrender, but change. "They want to negotiate," Ray said, reading the message. "They're offering to lift the dark energy ban, to share power with younger races." "Too late," General Miller replied. "We're not interested in their permission anymore." The Alliance fleet regrouped, now larger than ever with the addition of defected Council ships. Tom looked at the tactical display, showing victory after victory across the galaxy. "Do we push to their capital?" someone asked. Tom shook his head. "No need. Look." On the screen, reports flowed in from every sector. Council worlds were overthrowing their old leaders. The elite powers were fleeing or surrendering. The revolution had won without needing to fire another shot. "It's really over," Anna whispered. "No," Tom smiled. "It's just beginning. Think about it. All these races, all this combined knowledge. We're not just free of the Council. We're starting something entirely new." Ray's scales shimmered with joy. "And we have humanity to thank. You showed us it was possible." The Defiance turned toward Earth, leading the Allied fleet home. Behind them, the old order of the galaxy crumbled, and something better began to rise from its ashes. 1 year after the revolution, Earth's orbital station, Unity, hosted the first meeting of the new Galactic Federation. Representatives from 300 worlds filled the massive chamber, their different shapes, colors, and forms creating a living rainbow against the backdrop of space. Tom watched from his seat as Ray took the speaker's platform. The former rebel leader, now elected as the Federation's first chief representative, looked out at the gathered species. "A year ago," she began, "we lived in fear. The Council told us what we could learn, where we could go, how we could grow. Today, we gather as equals. Today, we write our own future." The chamber erupted in cheers in 100 different languages. Tom smiled, remembering how it all started in a simple laboratory in the mountains. Now Earth's cities sparkled with technologies that seemed like magic just a year ago. "The dark energy ban is officially lifted," Ray continued. "But more importantly, all technology sharing restrictions are removed. The Federation's first act is to establish the Great Library, a database of all our combined knowledge, open to every member world." On cue, huge screens lit up around the chamber. The Great Library's interface appeared, already filling with information from hundreds of civilizations. Centuries of hidden knowledge, finally free to share. Anna, now Earth's chief of science, stood up, And humanity is proud to contribute our latest breakthrough, stable wormhole technology. Combined with dark energy drives, this will let us explore parts of the galaxy the Council declared forbidden. The excitement in the room was electric. Already, joint research teams from different worlds were planning expeditions. The Council's old borders were meaningless now. General Miller, speaking for Earth's defense forces, added, "Our combined fleet patrols will ensure no world ever faces threats alone again. But these ships carry scientists and explorers, not just soldiers. We defend knowledge, not borders." From his seat, Tom saw Representative Smith watching from the observer section. The former council leader looked older now, his perfect appearance faded. But there was something like wonder in his eyes as he watched former enemies working together. Smith caught Tom's gaze and walked over. "I still don't understand," he said quietly. "How did you do it? How did you unite so many different species so quickly?" Tom thought for a moment. "We didn't try to control them. We showed them respect, shared what we knew, and learned from them in return. The Council spent 50,000 years afraid of change. We embraced it." The chamber's attention turned to the main screen, where images showed the first joint expedition preparing to launch. Ships of mixed crews, carrying the hopes of their worlds, ready to pierce the darkness between galaxies. "Look at them," Ray said from the platform. The Council said younger races couldn't be trusted with advanced technology. But together, we've achieved more in 1 year than they did in centuries. And we did it without losing our souls. The assembly rose in applause. Outside the station's windows, Earth shone blue and beautiful. Ships of all designs moved through space, their dark energy drives leaving trails of purple light. The sight would have seemed impossible just a year ago. "What's next?" Anna asked, joining Tom by the window. He pointed to the distant stars. "Out there." The Council kept so much of space off limits. "Think about what we'll find now that we can really explore. Think about what we'll learn from each other." The ceremony continued, but Tom's mind was already racing with possibilities. Humanity had done more than break free from control. They'd helped create something entirely new. A future where species grew together, where knowledge flowed freely, where the only limits were the ones they set themselves. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, new adventures waited. The age of the Council was over. The age of discovery was just beginning.